Okay, so this is an update video really. I said in one of my previous videos that I was going to do this, and I've actually done it now. What we've got there is courtesy of Robert Murray Smith again, credit where it's due. He came up with this idea and showed us. It's a pipe fittings for hydrothermal carbonisation. Pullman's AUTOCLAVE. I can't afford the one I want, so it's out of my reach at the moment, so I use this and it works. Obviously, you know, all the safety precautions and all the rest of it. You need to use the PTFE, the gas one, the yellow one. Now what I said I was going to do was use one of these. Now that is from a diesel engine, and it's a glow plug, and any glow plug will do from any diesel engine. I think these were, I bought these on eBay. I paid about £18 for 4. I think these were Land Rover ones or something like that. So what I said I was going to do was get my mate to weld a boss on this so I could screw that into this chamber, and that's what I've done. There it is. Nice and neat, tidy. And try and use this on the bench. Obviously you've got to sit it on something that's going to be heat resistant, but I wanted to try this on the bench. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to try it, and it will be on this video. I won't be carbonising or anything, but I'll be heating the thing up to see what the temperature gets to. Now these things you can control the temperature by just putting the DC voltage in, and obviously at a certain voltage, a certain current level, you measure the temperature. That's it in a nutshell. Simple. Now this one I've got sitting there on a piece of metal. It's wired up, ready to go. So let's give it a go. What I'm going to do, it's at 1.2 volts at the moment, and it's drawing 1.3 amps. Now that is hot. What I'm going to do is move the camera a bit closer. We'll turn the current up, turn the volts up. These things actually glow red. Now this one, I'm hoping that you can see that inside there. I'll just move it around to see that you get kind of a better angle. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to put some ceramic. I'm going to put some ceramic tube over the end. I've got some ceramic tube which will just fit over that nicely, and I'm going to fill the I'm going to bond it with exhaust paste, gum as they call it, which is good for about, I don't know, 1,000 degrees or something like that, or 1,500 degrees. It's something ludicrous like that. So what I don't want is that copper exposed inside there. So that's what I'm going to do, but first I just need to test it to see if it works and heats up the inside of this chamber. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll move the camera a bit closer and we'll fire this one up. Now just before we go any further, this particular item, these pipe fittings, are slightly larger than the ones that RMS showed us. I don't actually know what the true capacity is of this, but I'm about to find out. So what I'll do, now you would think that that's a waste of DI water really, but you see that there? I've said it before on my other videos. Tesco's at the moment in the UK, 55p for 2.5 litres, still on special offer. I've bought about 40 or 50 of them now. I've just got them everywhere. So anyway, that's I mean, that's full to the brim, but you know, let's have a little look and see what the actual capacity is. So that is 200 millilitres total capacity inside there. I mean, you're not going to fill it up, you know, to 200 millilitres, but what I'm saying is that that's the capacity of that. So you know, there you go. Now this, now I've got this set up, it's drawing, let's see, we've got 7.1 volts, 5.9 amps, and well, 40 watts basically, although that particular meter there doesn't agree with the voltage of the power supply. Well, 7.1, 6.8, you know, which one do you believe? I don't know, but anyway, that's that. Now at the moment that is glowing red. I'll turn a light out and you can see that glowing red. Now that's at 7 volts, so you can see what sort of it's a heating element basically. That's exactly what it is. I'm just going to turn the voltage down. Now I've turned it down to 4.8 volts and we're drawing 4.1 amps of current. Obviously it's not particularly glowing red now. Well, it is, but you can't see that. So I'll just pop this light back on, and there you go. What I'm going to do is wire this one up now, basically for the earth. I mean, the earth is the body of this, and I'm just going to use a Jubilee clip on there. That's it in a nutshell. I'll stand that on something that's oh, there you go, look. An old tile, that will do, won't it? You know, fire it up on there, look, job done. So yeah, let's give it a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water in there. I'm going to start it. Obviously this might it may take quite a while to heat up, so what I will do is put some heated water in it, and then I'm going to stand that on the hot plate. I mean, yeah, you don't need a tile, just stand it on your hot plate or whatever, you know, whichever method suits you best. So I'll preheat it on the hot plate with some water, with some hot water in it, and then fire this up just to, I mean, I don't know, maybe that would take half an hour to an hour to get up to temperature if you didn't do that. So it's giving it a start. I just want to see what sort of temperature we can get to and maintain, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'll pause the video for now, and okay, so what I've done, I've literally warmed this up. I haven't, it's not hot, I've just warmed it up on the hot plate. I've wired it up. It's a bit crude, I know, but it's just, you know, this preliminary experiment. So Jubilee clip for the ground, and there's your positive. So what I'm going to do is turn on the power supply. At the moment I've got 6.3 volts, and we're drawing, well, I'll show you, 6.7 amps. Now obviously as that heats up, the current will go down as it is now. So there we go. Now obviously what I've got to do is initially heat this up, and that is now, that's getting hot now. That was quick. And we've got, wow, 83 degrees, 84 degrees. Now that's on the top, Okay, so that's centigrade, obviously. Wow, that's that has worked really quickly. Now that is hot now. So we're still at 6.3 volts, and we're down to 5.8 amps. Now if I just leave that for 5 minutes, it's only been on for a couple of minutes, give it 5 minutes and we'll see where we go with it. Obviously what I've got to do is just do it in increments and see what the temperature ranges are. So if I leave that now at 6.3 volts and 5.8 amps, whatever it settles at, and measure the temperature, that's the temperature for that voltage and that current, or the voltage, let's say, because the current does waver a bit, and then up it by a volt or 2 volts or whatever to get the correct temperature that you actually require. So here we go again. Now that's at 87 now, 87.8. Have a look at the body, that's 88, and the base, now the base is, according to that, 70 degrees. Now you would expect that, because I'm assuming now we've got some thermal loss into this tile, and obviously heat rises anyway, so the top's going to be hotter than the bottom. But at the end of the day, it should all kind of even out in a bit. And I mean, at the end of the day, this is internal heat, and with your oven you start with external heat to get the internal heat, but this is just hopefully a quick way of getting that internal heat. Yeah, that is that's hot now. Yeah, the base is quite hot as well, so let's have a little look at that. Well, yeah, I mean 77 degrees now, so now obviously these things are good for, you know, up to 12 volts, I would, or even more, I would imagine, you know, because they're fitted on 12 volt vehicles. So, and I would imagine that these things, when they're, you know, when you do your preheat on the diesel engine, the glow plug is at 12 volts. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now, we're still at 88, so what I'm going to do is leave that for, let's say, half an hour, and I'll come back after half an hour, see what the temperature is, and if it's regulated itself to 88 degrees, what I'll do then is turn up the voltage to maybe 8 volts, and we'll see what the temperature is then. So I'll just I'll pause the video for now and just leave that for half an hour. It hasn't been half an hour. I've turned the video back on because something's just sprang into my mind. A couple of weeks ago, someone was looking at my videos, or one of my videos, and started attacking me. Yeah? I think the first comment was, "You don't know your anode from your cathode." And I said something like, "I work late to get a life." Wow, he's turned into a keyboard warrior now. started saying things like, what did he say? You need to buy yourself a book on, oh, you don't know your basic electrochemistry. You should buy a book or get a video on how to make batteries and all this sort of stuff. I think he was looking at my underwater battery at the time, my all-water battery, and I tried it in urine and DI water and tap water and rainwater, and I've tried it in the river as well. And I've called an anode a cathode, or a cathode an anode, or something. So banging on, you know. But the worst thing was, he said, you should be original. Who do you think you are? Robert Murray Smith version 2. And I thought, it didn't compute. I thought, how did you work that one out, you know? As if I was copying Robert Murray Smith, which, you know, I think everything that Robert Murray Smith has ever shown us, I've tried on this bench, you know. Everything, even graphene oxide, you know, you name it, I've tried it. And that's what it's all about. That's why he shows us. You know, I mean, what I like to do is take something that RMS shows me, or us as a community, and take it to another level, which is really difficult to do once he's done it. Taking something that RMS has done to another level, you know, or, you know, to a level of my own. He showed us the magnesium copper battery on the bench, the air battery, oxidized the piece of copper and got better current, so oxidization was the key. So I took these oxycrystals, which gave my battery underwater the oxygen it needed. I think these are it's hydrogen peroxide in these as well, so that was that. And I mean, if that's copying, well, I might as well give up, because at the end of the day, I've said all this before, there's only two people on the internet or YouTube that really excite me, and that's good old Pete in Aussie land and RMS, you know, for the masses of work that they've done and shown us. Now, you know, I look up to these guys, because I don't know, I don't think I know as much as Pete does, you know. Batteries, I want to be messing around with batteries for, I don't know, 6-8 months, something like that. Anyway, that aside, yeah, he was a real keyboard warrior, and I'm copying Robert Murray Smith, a 1 centimetre battery. I've done a 1 centimetre battery before in the past. I've done a 5mm battery, you know. Now the batteries that I'm doing now, you know, RMS, I was, you know, he did this phase 3 graphitic carbon nitride cell. You know, and it's 1 centimetre. I've done a 1 centimetre in, you know, diatoms and graphene, you know, silicates. Two completely different animals. So, you know, it pissed me off a little bit, you know. But at the end of it, he turned into my mate, so can't grumble at that. But you know, it's a bit off. Okay, so that's maintaining its temperature, 6.3 volts, 5.8 amps. But just getting back to that story, so I'll tell you what I really think of RMS. I don't know him personally, obviously. I'll tell you what I really think of him. He's brilliant. Yeah. Well, brilliant as a word. If I could make that word longer, he's that brilliant. It's like brilliant plus a 3. You know. No, he's not. He's not even that. He's a genius. You know, absolute genius. That's all I can say. I don't say that about many people. Einstein, nah. Tesla, yeah. Robert Murray Smith, yeah. if Robert, if I look at Robert on the screen and he says, look, here's your building blocks. You've got your bricks there, your house bricks, your mortar, and your cement mixer. And what you do is you put that cement in that mixer, put some water in it, possibly some SBR, and make some cement. And you get a trowel, there's a trowel, look, and you can build this. You can make this with it. That's what he says to us. He's never said to us, I'll come and build the house for you. His words always are, I encourage you to experiment with that, what I've just shown you. And that's what we do, and that's what I do. I can't see anything wrong with it, you know. This, I gave credit where it's due. I always give credit where it's due to you know, RMS. I say, I took this idea for RMS, and like this is, you know, the poor man's autoclave, pipe fittings, Robert Murray Smith, you know. And now, I've done exactly the same. I've used it, it works, it's great, fantastic, and all the rest of it. Now I've just took it, you know, to hopefully a different level, and it's on the bench. It's not in an oven. So, Robert, if I've copied you, I apologise. But yeah, this guy, don't know who it was, don't care, but you know, just one of those things that I just wanted to get that off my chest, because obviously those comments are on my channel, and he went from video to video. Oh, your videos are too long, and this, that, and the other. And I said, look, mate, I typed a reply. But I said, look, mate, I'm just in Waterstone's bookshop now. I'm at the checkout. I've just bought what was it? Not electrochemistry. Oh, something like that for dummies. You know. Oh, I never called you a dummy, he says, and you know. I said, now I've got to go and buy video editing for dummies. You know, it's everything, you know, just on and on. But all those comments are there for everyone to see, and you know, I don't copy Robert Murray Smith. You know, a hard job to copy Robert Murray Smith. One of my next batteries that I'm going to show is based on, again, my diatoms with a deep eutectic solvent. It's a lovely little thing, and what I've used, I haven't used a separator, a regular separator. What I've actually used is that, again, courtesy of Robert Murray Smith. Encouraged me to experiment with it, and that's what I've done. Now, I haven't just that's acetone and cigarette butts, by the way, with ethylene glycol brake fluid. Yeah, there we go. Brake fluid and cigarette butts. So what I've done with my separator in this new battery, I thought to myself, well, okay, while we're on, I've just turned that up to 8 volts, well 7.9 actually, and it's drawing 7 amps. So while I'm yapping, we'll see if the temperature goes up. I can't imagine it would be right now, but no, I can't see any increase at the moment. Yeah, this battery, what I've done is I've taken that separating material. You only need to dip, you know, or pour it out as a, just cast it nice and thin and cut it up. Works phenomenally well, really well. But I thought to myself, it could be a binder, so that's what I've used it for. I've used it as a binder for the active material. I've used it as a binder, well, top and bottom of the battery. So, and that's quite an interesting one, that. As I say, deep detective solvent. Is it type 1? No, type 3. So yeah, that's what's going on with my next battery. And also, hopefully this weekend I'm going to test my new 12 volt emergency seawater battery with a bit of luck. And there's something to show with that one as well, something which happened by accident, and just led me to another area, let's say, and I'll show that. It's, you know, it's not top secret or anything like that, but it just took me away from the way I was doing it, which I'll continue with, because I'm actually developing composite anodes and cathodes as well at the moment, and that's what I got inside that thing, the one I tested in the sea. If you saw the video, they're only 1 volt cells, but I intend to change that to either 1.5 or 2. As an emergency seawater battery, again 2 volt cells, obviously 6 of them, lovely. So yeah, a lot going on. So there's variation. Now that top there is 90, which is just there. The bottom is 70 something. Yeah, so there are temperature variations. It seems uniform around the top. And it seems uniform in the middle. And it's uniform on the base, but there is some variation. It's obviously hot on the top. So what I'll do is I'll just leave that for a while, and come back to it. 6.7 amps. I'll turn it up a bit. Okay, 9 volts, almost 8 amps. Now, I've got to say this, although this is an experiment which I want to do on the bench, I would not just leave that sat there like that, with no, you know, protection for yourselves. I mean, if anything happened with that, you know, or steam hurts. So, as I say, I would not just leave that without some protective environment around it, some sort of a cover, some sort of a thermal heat shield, whatever, you know. So I guess you know, that's got to be said. So I'm just going to leave that now for an hour or so, see what happens, and I'll come back. Okay, so just a quick update. It's literally been, it's probably been 40 minutes now. I've turned the voltage up obviously to 9 volts. We've got 7.5 amps. Now the top is at 104 degrees. The middle is at 97 degrees. Now I'm guessing that if I try the base, it's going to be cooler. .78 degrees. So the obvious thing is happening now. We've got no even heat distribution. Heat rises, so that's going to be hotter. We know that bit. We've got thermal runaway on the tile. The tile is quite warm, so I'm guessing what we really need for this to work properly is a thermal barrier on the base, so we don't get that runaway, and possibly a thermal jacket of some sort around it. I don't know, there's lots and lots of things you could use for that. Maybe a little bit of rock wool or something like that, you know. So I'm going to stop touching that because it is hot. So yeah, we've got the 104 degrees on the top. So it's kind of working. I'm quite pleased because it is working. So I've got a leak as well. Haven't tightened it up enough. Very, very, very slight leak there. Just see that bubbling away. Okay. So yeah, on the whole, I'm pleased with it. It works. But we need a jacket, I think, to stop thermal runaway. Now, I didn't think of this at first, but you're going to get thermal runaway continuously in air, you know, with the temperature of the room and all the rest of it, because it's not in an oven. So I think a thermal jacket is the way forward. But basically, the idea works. So there we go, one glow plug, a diesel glow plug, heater element, call it whatever you like. Now these things are used to some serious temperatures inside of the internal combustion engine, because that bit there is continuously in that combustion chamber. Maybe not all of it, maybe just a bit of it, but you know, it's there. Now, I hate to think what temperatures you've got inside of a thermal combustion engine when it's doing, you know, when you're doing like 70 mile an hour for 3 hours or 4 hours. You know, that thing there has got to put up with that temperature, that permanent temperature. So that, you know, as a heating element, it's got to be good, I assume. So I'm just going to leave that, even though I've got a slight leak and all the rest of it. I'm going to leave it and see what happens. Unfortunately, I've got nothing to put around it as a thermal blanket, at least. Okay, this was going to be the second part of the update of the video, but I've decided I'm going to put the two together, I think. I went to bed early hours of this morning, like 2:30, usual fashion, full of ideas, full of thoughts and all the rest of it, and 4 o'clock I'm up. One of the things I said earlier on in the video was that hadn't got anything to wrap this item up, this chamber, I've got nothing to wrap it up in, you know, as a thermal barrier. Well, I must have been dreaming about it, because I woke up thinking, what an idiot. And on the shelf just there, I've got this stuff. Now this is just, you buy it on eBay. I think this costs £5 for a big roll, and it's exhaust heat wrap for cars. They use it a lot on you know, high performance cars, to wrap the exhaust to keep the heat in, and it ups the power and all the rest of it. But I've got this. Now that's what I've used. I'll show you in a minute. But if you ever use this stuff and you try and cut it, put some tape on it, because it frays like mad. It's a bit like my carbon fibre weave. It just frays like mad, so you have to put some tape on it. Otherwise you're in a world of hurt with it. It's terrible stuff. Just as an example, you know, you get a lovely cut and the edge stays fine. Now, depending on what you're doing with it, I mean, that's Captain tape, which I've used in this instance. So that's that. So yeah, I thought, let's make a little blanket for it. So there it is. It's this stuff, obviously, and Captain tape. And that's it. I'm going to try it like that. Now, in typical fashion with me, I don't think things through properly all the time. And I was thinking about this morning, you know, with the power supply and the amount of current that you're going to need for this. And I thought, you're going to need a big power supply. Or do you? I don't know yet, until I try this. Because this barrier might keep a lot of the heat in, and for the same voltage and current, we might get a higher temperature, because we need to be at like 180, 200 degrees, somewhere around there. And we got, what, 108 in air. So I've made this. It's a bit cobbled together, I know that. But you know, this is just to test this theory. What I would do is get some thermal block. It's nice, you know, the stuff you line kilns with and stuff like that. I'd get some of that, and I'd carve a circle out of it and just drop that in. That's the way I would do it. So it's like a mini kiln as well, if you like. So yeah, that's the theory. That's my thermal barrier, and I made a nightcap for it. Look, just pop that on there like that. Now if you're wondering about how am I going to measure the temperature, I've left a little window there just to measure the temperature on the top. And I think looking at the earlier results, the temperature variations, this should now be better to give an even heat. Yes, the top may be just slightly higher than the middle and the bottom again, but I don't know. But I can sort of test on the boss as well, the temperature on the boss and the top. So hopefully we get some sort of an idea of where it's going. I did take the mixture out. I did test that to see if it was rust, and it's not rust. And yes, it does stink of seaweed. I carbonised seaweed in that last, so that's why that's that colour. And I've got some seaweed carbon in there. So what I'm going to do is try this again now, and we'll see what the temperature gets up to for the amount of current that we need. Obviously I've got a power supply there which supplies, I've got a switch mode power supply. It goes up to 10 amps, 30 volts, 10 amps maximum. If I'm going to need, let's say 20 amps, I've got another power supply which is somewhere, not in here because I don't use it, and it will do 20 amps comfortably at 30 volts, which I don't need. So yeah, not thinking it through, most people won't have access to a big power supply, but I mean they're quite cheap now. I mean that big one, I think I paid about £84 on eBay. So you know, it is a piece of lab equipment that you need a decent benchtop power supply. So what I'm going to do is shut up now and get on with this and heat it back up. Okay, so we're back on the bench. I've just put that fluid back in there. I've hooked it back up. I've turned it up to 9.5 volts and we've got 8.1 amps at the moment. That's been on for about 30 seconds and yeah, the temperature's coming up. Now I didn't preheat this time obviously because I've got this stuff on there. Yeah, I could have turned it upside down and heated it from there, but you know, I'm just trialing it this time from cold. And I did notice that on this thing you couldn't see a 7 because I've got a blob of something on there, but just check the temperature and yeah, temperature's coming up. Right, well it's been about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, something like that. I just wanted to check this and see what we've got. Temperature is going up, no two ways about it. So never really know how to use these things, whether you hold the trigger and just keep watching or just press it once or what, but guess if I'd read the instructions it would tell me. Okay, that's 46 and it's been about as I say 5 or 6 minutes, so I'll just leave that. The voltage is still 9.5 and the current is 7.8. Now I'm guessing I could turn the volts up a little bit there. Okay, I've turned them up to 12 volts and we got 9.4 amps, look. And that says 11.72 volts at 9.5 amps. 110 watts. Yeah. So, I guess I'll just leave this for 15 minutes or so and come back. Okay, I'm doing other things at the moment and I'm just going to have to sort of come back to this when I can. It hasn't been 15 minutes, it's been about 10. So, just check that quickly. Okay, I mean, initially it said 77, so... my best guess would be that this is going to take an hour to get up to anything like temperature. I mean, that's it's not hot, it's warm, so whether I've got enough of this stuff wrapped around it, I don't know. I could, I suppose, wrap some more around it and really try and keep the heat in there. I might just do that actually. Basically loosely wrapped some more of this stuff around the outside, give it more of a thermal barrier, I suppose. I mean, this stuff's okay, but it's not really intended for this purpose. Well, not this particular purpose. It is intended to withhold heat, to keep heat in, but it's not the ideal scenario, and as I say, I would not do it this way. You need access to your bottom end cap for one. I'll just check that temperature, see where we are, and it's 175. Okay, so we've got fairly good temperature there. So I think from one point of view it's quite successful, so I'll leave it at that. And you know, there is a lot of, well, not a lot of steam, but there is steam coming out of it, so there's no point in carrying on with that. So I'll just go back to the drawing board a little bit and try and build a better thermal jacket than what we've actually got here. So yeah, okay. As a concept, it kind of works. The tile's not hot, it's barely warm in fact, so the thermal jacket on the bottom's working as well. I mean, that's, you know, fairly hot, sort of warm-ish. So there you go. Not a bad idea. Okay, I just thought I'd show this bit because I've just taken the cap off, and I thought I'll use the heat to dry out some of this carbon I've just made, and I'm just leaving this thing to cool down, you know. But I just thought I'd try the temperature, and that's, you know, that's the temperature it got up to. So there you go. So I guess as a concept it's worked. Certainly got somewhere near the temperature that we need. I think the jacket could be better, and I think with the extra insulation we've got up to the temperature, so conceptually it's you know, the idea is there, and all I can do is improve on it. I think the idea of that material that they line ovens with, or kilns I should say, is the way forward, and try it again. The other thing I was thinking about with this was that if you wanted to put a cup inside of it, a Teflon cup, as you've got with the proper hydrothermal units, you know, the stainless steel autoclaves, you couldn't do it with this because that probe is in the way. So again, thinking cap time and work something else out, but as a basic idea I like it, so we shall see.